Welcome to the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong, and today we have another great guest. She comes highly recommended by lots of people out there, featured on so many national publications, featured in lots of hundreds of podcasts as well, talking about what she does best, and that is helping us get organized and be more productive. She's been helping people all around the world develop operational systems for running households, coming up with physical products for household projects, working with online courses and the communities. I mean, her organization, like company generates over $2.5 million a year. So she knows what she's talking about. People need her advice and people seek her out. She is a multiple best-selling author with her most recent book coming out soon, which is Escaping Quicksand, helping people really prioritize their needs, dealing with their beliefs, mindset, and the surrounding environment. Her podcast, Organized 365, also helps people reduce their overwhelm, overcoming the clutter in our minds, and also, of course, helping us live a more productive and organized life. So please welcome productivity specialist, home organization expert, founder and CEO of Organized 365, speaker, trainer, and multiple best-selling author, Ms. Lisa Woodruff.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Now I'm afraid to talk.
I'm sure you'll get over it. It's all good. Well, thank you very much for being here. It's always a joy speaking with people who are very successful at what they do, willing to share their tips and tricks and secrets to everybody else. So, first of all, how did you become this person who is so organized and using that skill to make a
Mhm.
business out of it? Because most people think, you know what, getting organized, common sense, just clean up. But
Yeah,
you're able to
right.
make that into a very successful company. How did you become that person?
Yes, well, I do think that a lot of people think that, well, if you're born organized, then you're just organized. And if everybody else who isn't organized, I guess they just haven't put in the work. And what I learned as a teacher and as I approached my 40s when I became disorganized myself is that you could be organized in certain phases of life and end up disorganized just because of life circumstances and also because you need new skills. We see this in business all the time, like, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you started your business from scratch, like, you learn how to sell your product, then you have to learn how to build a team, then you have to teach the team how to sell the product, like, and you keep growing and developing and iterating yourself and growing yourself. We do that at home as well. And as we go through life stages and unexpected events, we'll find ourselves coming into new organizational hurdles that we've never done before. So for me, it happened in my mid 30s when my parents got divorced and my father became ill. My sister and I found ourselves as the power of healthcare and power of attorney for him. Ultimately, he passed away, and then we had to sell our family home and settle an estate. Now, most of us will find ourselves in that situation at some time in our life, and none of us have ever settled an estate before. So, this is an organizational problem that we don't have a skill set for, and you have to go out and find those skills. Just like when you're growing a business, you have to go and you have to find all of those skills. So, along the way, I'm 54 now, I realized once I got into my 40s that organizing, even for the most organized amongst us, especially women, gets really complicated in your 40s because you're juggling so many things, so many different people, so many different entities, that it's really hard to stay productive and focused and organized.
Wow, that is incredible. A very organized way of stating everything. And just wanted to know, like, for people who are organized, okay, they
Mhm.
claim they are organized. When do they realize that they are not as organized as they should be? Like, I know you work with a lot of different people from different levels of, let's say, success, and then also different educational background and cultural background.
Mhm.
There's organization and being organized is different perspective for everybody. So what would you recommend people when it comes to organization that they go, okay, I need to up my game or I'm good at where I am? Where do they find that? When does the gap become an issue?
Yeah, so organization is a feeling. It's not really a design aesthetic. So when you're selling organization in a household, you're usually being sold a minimalistic aesthetic or all these labeled bins and containers that look the same, or a rainbow order. Like, you're sold like what organization looks like. Inside of a business, we're told that organization is being able to rely on your systems, having standard operating procedures, having key measuring indexes that we're trying to measure our success on. And so what I did is I took that business understanding of how we measure the productivity of business, and I applied it to the house as opposed to the design aesthetic that women are being sold. And I realized that you actually get a lot more traction and a lot better organization when you're actually measuring that you're spending your right time doing the right tasks, that you feel in more control of your outcomes, that you're setting a few goals and attaining those goals as opposed to trying to do everything for everyone all the time. So when I feel like I am unorganized at home, I feel like I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Like, I'm just trying to check things off the to-do list. I'm not really getting anywhere. I don't have goals. So I'm feeling very demoralized in the work I'm doing. And yet the work keeps accumulating and I don't feel in control. In business, when I feel organized, I feel like, okay, I realize, like, for example, last year we got rid of 60% of our SKUs. I did that purposefully. I knew that going into quarter 1, our revenue would be way down, but we were focusing back on the home and no longer being a work and home organization company. We're only focusing on home. So I purposely set the goal to reorient back to home and double down on getting organized at home, knowing that that would impact our revenue. At home, we do the same thing. Sometimes we find we're going into, let's say someone's going to have surgery in your family, and so they're going to be on crutches for a while. Okay, we recognize that. We're not going to be able to do some big reorganizing projects. We're not going to be able to be taking a lot of vacations in this next quarter. So we're going to stockpile the movies that we've been meaning to watch so we can watch those movies, maybe do some organizing projects like going through files while we're sitting on a couch and keeping ourselves busy instead of organizing a storage room, like modifying what we're going to get organized based on the time and energy that we have available. That's what I mean. That's how I would say it looks. It's so hard to, when you're a productive person and you want to explain to someone how you became productive, you don't really remember, right? And so that's what Organize 365 has done. Through the last 14 years as a teacher, I have reverse analyzed, how did I become productive? How did I become in control and organized in my household? And then how can I help other people do the same? But we live in our households from the time we're a child until the time we pass away. So it's really hard to see the disorganization. We feel it, but it's hard to see it. That's why I like to pull out analogies from business and other entities. So you're like, oh yeah, that is like what's happening in my household, as opposed to just only household examples.
Now, personally, I love that analogy. I was like, okay, running a household is no different than running a business, and therefore you
Yeah.
you you were using terms that you usually use at a company or a business at home, like
Yeah.
the household manager and whatnot. But there's some people out there who might be listening to this and say, wait a minute, home is relaxation. I'm supposed to feel
Yes.
free. I don't want to get off work and go to work again. So
Right.
how do you kind of differentiate that? What when you turn on that, put on that hat when you go home versus when you go to work.
Absolutely. I remember being a kid and I could not wait to live in my own dwelling because I was like, ha ha, you can't make me. I don't have to do these chores. I'm in charge now. Like, I am the boss. And then you realize, oh, well, you don't have underwear if you don't do laundry, and you can't eat anything if you don't go to the grocery store. Darn it. Okay. So I'll do the minimum I need to do in order to live, right? The truth of the matter is 68% of US GDP is household spending. So households are an economic entity. Households are actually, I argue, the economic entity that the world revolves around. Like, if we don't need it, businesses don't create it. We are the ultimate customer. And so we are running an economic enterprise. Yes, we're spending money, not earning money at home, but our work is valuable. Our time is valuable. And when you think about it that way, when you decide that you're not going to prioritize and systematize what you do at home, and you're just going to kind of do it as you go with the flow or as you notice things need to be done, what happens is, especially for a woman, there's always things that you see that need to be done. So I remember before I got organized, I would have this never-ending to-do list. It looks like Santa Claus's, wish list of all the toys he had to buy.
It's the
And
naughty
I
list.
would have, it's so long. And I would have, like, let's say 10 to 15 minutes before I was supposed to leave the house. And this is what I would do. I'd go and I would look at the to-do list. What could I get done? How many things could I check off before I had to leave the house? Or at the end of the day, I'd have the kitchen all ready to go. And I wouldn't give myself permission to go upstairs and watch TV and take a bubble bath or whatever. I'd be like, okay, let's see if I could check a few more things off of this to-do list. I was a slave to this to-do list because there was always more that could be done. But once I set up systems and I got my household organized, I started to contain the work that I did at home, just like I contain the work I do in my business. I don't only work 40 hours a week. I would work more hours than that because I'm an entrepreneur. You know, we get to pick all of our hours. So we pick all of the hours. But at the same time, there are hours where I go, I'm not working on my business right now. I also have hours in my day where I go, I am doing a jigsaw puzzle just because I want to. Of course, there's always things I could be doing in my business or things I could be doing in my household, but this is time for me. And when you start to recognize there is work to running a household and you start to bucket that time as in, I'm going to do my work, I'm going to do my housework, now I'm going to do my work for me or my leisure or my fun time, you actually get more leisure time. If you don't bucket it and recognize it, it just creeps into everything.
Is there a saying, well, yeah, is there a truth to you could be too organized? Like for instance, and I'll use a work example. People have like folders and systems, and you have to go to this folder, and then you open that folder, you go to this folder, and it's so organized, but man, you don't need to be that organized because it's too much, too many steps to get what you need to get done. So is there a such thing as being too organized?
So I call that hobby organization. There's functional organization and there's hobby organization. So functional organization means you can get it done. Somebody could step in just like at work and do the work for you. Hobby organization is that I really like it to look this way, to feel this way. I really love to have all my ducks in a row and I want them also to be color coded and in rainbow order because it just makes me feel good and I like it. Now, push come to shove, do I have to do it? No, but I really like it. So I want to do it. So we call that hobby organization. It is optional. And when you're doing that, then you recognize, well, this is my leisure time. This is my hobby. I enjoy organizing. So I'm spending my leisure time this way. And if you go, wait, no, I don't want to spend my leisure time this way, good. Now you know that you're overworking and you should stop doing that and go do something that you really would like to do instead.
Are you able to share a few like quick tips and maybe strategies for people? Like you've worked with so many different organizations, also with a lot of households. What are some of the most common things that people do that they don't realize is sucking the time out of the day?
Yeah, so many ideas. Okay, so I'll give you one invisible work idea and one visible work idea. Is that good? Okay.
Awesome.
So, invisible work. When you're the household manager and you're managing the calendaring and the ordering and the cleaning and all of those things, we tend to be very reactive in what we do because we don't want to write anything down or add to our to do list. So, the old productivity tip was if it can be done in less than 5 minutes, do it right away. Have you ever heard that?
Oh
Like
yeah.
if a task comes to your mind, do it right away. I say absolutely not. Do not do that. I say write it down. I write every single thing that comes to my mind down. So let's say I'm like, oh, I need to get a birthday card tonight for my cousin. I will write that down. I need to put gas in the car. I will write that down. I need to schedule a haircut. I will write that down. Like this is just like my brain is constantly serving me these ideas. Then at the end of the workday, I will look at that list and I'll go, okay, well, I definitely do need to get gas and I am going to get that card on the way home, but I don't need to schedule my haircut yet. So I'll take that piece of paper that says schedule haircut and I'll put it in my Sunday basket. So my Sunday basket is a physical box and it is where I put all of the ideas that my brain serves up to me all day long about things it would like me to do. And I just put it there until Sunday. And then on Sunday, I go through all of those and I decide, do I have the time? Do I want to spend my talent this way? Do we have the treasure, the money that we want to put towards this event this week? And I only make decisions for 1 week at a time. I spend my time better, I spend my money better, and I stay fully present on what I am doing. Every time you have an idea, like I need to get gas, I need to go get a card. Well, first of all, you can't instantly do that unless you're going to leave work and go do that right now. Or let's say schedule a haircut. You're going to stop doing what your work and go schedule a haircut. You see how you're going to stop and task switch and delay what you're doing. The example I give at home is another productivity tip that I think that you should erase from your brain is to only touch paper once. This was really big in the 90s. Like if you touch your mail, you should process your mail instantly. So you're coming home from work. You've got to get changed because you're going to go to the gym. You've got to make dinner and you need to change the laundry. Okay. You're going to do those three things. So you get ready to pull in the driveway. You get the mail out of the mailbox. Now you're flipping through the mail because you're only supposed to touch the mail once, right? You can't just bring it in and dump it. You got to look at it. And so if it's recycling, we need to recycle it on the way in so it doesn't even make it into the house. This is the worst advice ever. And now you're looking at it like, oh, shoot, I forgot this bill is due. Now, do I have enough money to pay this bill? You're not going to pay it right now. Now you're just thinking about it. You put it down. You're like, okay, I'm going to go get change for the gym. I'm going to go grab what I need for dinner. You get back in the car and you're riding to the gym. What did you forget to do?
Oh no, there's so many things on that list already.
Change the laundry. You were
That's right.
supposed to change the laundry. You didn't. You're like, dang it. I need those clothes for work tomorrow. When I get home, I need to remember to put these in the dryer. And this is why I think that we don't have good household management systems. We're doing all those things I just said. See, you were in my story. You're like, I don't even know. I don't. There's so many things. This is a woman's brain. You were just inside of a woman's brain for like half a second. You're exhausted, weren't you? It's exhausting. I say grab the mail, throw it in the Sunday basket. Nothing that comes in snail mail can't wait until Sunday. I am so disciplined that every single thing I think about, an email that can be printed out, a text message that I can write on a piece of paper, all goes in the Sunday basket because I already have a plan for my life. I already know what I'm doing today. I don't need somebody else to tell me what to do today. So that's one system. How do you go from reacting to all this stimuli to actually being proactive? Now I'll give you a physical one. Okay, so when I organize a storage room, which in Cincinnati, Ohio, when I organized hundreds of houses, we always did the storage room. Everyone always wanted to do the storage room. The storage room, you know what your storage room looks like. It looks like a storage room.
Steam.
50% of the storage room was always gone by the end of the day. So many empty boxes, broken things, things that needed to be returned, things we just didn't know what to do with. And then we would set up the same exact system in every single storage room. So I'll tell you what it is. You put in the HDX, that's the Home Depot brand, ventilated shelving with bins. And it costs like $120 per section that you're going to do. So yes, there is a cost. The reason why is because a storage room is a prepaid store. Your storage room doesn't look like a prepaid store. It looks like a dump. And that's because you're just throwing things in there and then you're hoping that you'll find them when you're in there. How many times we found 4 hammers, 13 screwdrivers, like everything is duplicated in there because it's not a prepaid store. It's like stuff you're afraid that you might need someday, but you'll never be able to find it if you need it. When you're done with the Organized 365 and you put in the shelving and you put in the bins, what you keep in the bins will change. But the setup of the storage room will never change. You'll move from one house to the next house. This will be the first space that is organized because it will stay organized forever. Once you make a storage room a prepaid store, it will stay organized forever. So this is 2 examples of putting systems into place in our household that really maintain. One is the workflow and the workhorse of all the to-dos and the actionable requests on your time, talent, and treasure. The other one is making your household really work for you and having places for everything that are, the bins will change what they have in them, but the system that is set up will keep it looking like a store forever.
That is great tips, and I'm sure lots of people are like, okay, now I have to go get bins, I have to get
Yes,
labels and all that
right.
kind of stuff. And so for those who are like usually very, very organized, now they're excited because they get to make labels and whatnot.
Yes.
Um, I know you work with lots of different individuals from like household managers to also like business CEOs. Do you
Mhm.
usually go, hey, okay, let's work at the home first before we work on the business, or do you work on the business first and then work at the home? And do you ever approach people? Oh, do you ever encounter people who goes, you know what? My budget is for organizing the business, the home
Yeah.
stuff, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I used to do home and work together. And the problem is, it is so much more fun to organize business because you get a return on your investment
Yep.
in increasing in the productivity that you have and the number of customers you could serve and the amount of revenue that you earn.
Yep.
And the truth of the matter is, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of coaches that help people put systems into business. There are no other household managers that teach you how to put systems in households.
Uh,
There's no store to buy systems from. There's no one else that does what I do to the level that I do it. I'm getting my PhD in this, for crying out loud. Like I know how to set up the systems inside of your household. So I'm doubling down on that uniqueness because especially for women, not necessarily men, but especially for women, we must systematize how we run our household because if we don't, then when we are in the marketplace, even if we own our own company, our mind and our heart is with our household. And when our household needs more care, when the people in there need more care or something breaks at home, we're the ones that are rushing home to fix that. We are the ones that have the information that is necessary to fix that economic entity. We are running two businesses simultaneously. So if you can systematize your household and manage and run that well, you will be more successful in enterprise because one, you've learned the skill, and two, you're able to balance both of these entities that you own and operate.
Have you encountered situations where households are having, minor conflict of implementing this stuff? Like obviously one person, okay, I really want to put all this stuff in, and the other person's like, oh, I have to change this, I have to change my thought process and that, I have to do this and what. How do you help that dynamic work so that it actually, benefits everybody?
Yes. So when I did in-home organizing, I would only organize the person I was organizing, which usually was the female head of household.
Mhm.
And about 80% of the household is under her direction anyway. Like nobody really cares how she organized the storage room. No one's even thought about it. They're going, we have a storage room. Like literally, many of you in this podcast are going, where is our storage room? We've lived in our house 30 years. I think my husband's been in our storage room 3 times. Like I could have like a whole nother business going on down there. He would have no idea. He doesn't go in the basement. That's like downstairs. That's too far for him. So there are a lot of spaces in your household that you have 100% autonomy over. No one will even notice what you did. Organize your side of the closet. No one cares. Organize your half of the bedroom. Organize whatever your crafts are. There are a lot of areas that you can organize. So I often will say, we want our spouse or our children or whoever lives with us to organize their clutter because it's annoying us because we don't know why it's not put away. And yet I have like 18 projects out and I'm like, don't touch those. I'm in process. Like I know exactly where don't move any of those. And when I really wanted to get organized and I started focusing on me, it took me a whole year to get through all the areas in the house that just had to relate to me. And then I moved on to the kids. Like I've never gotten to my husband. He's a minimalist. He hardly has any stuff. So I reorganized the kitchen the other day and I said to him, I said, the dog treats have moved from the middle of this cabinet to the bottom of that cabinet. He goes, well, never give him the dog a treat again because now I have to bend over to give the dog a treat. And someone in my audience said, when you move that to the bottom, he's going to say he doesn't want to bend over. I'm like, he already said it. How did you know that? So that's the only complaint I got. I did a live where I showed how I reorganized the kitchen. I said, I promise you, no one in the family will even know I moved things because I didn't move the things that they normally look for. They won't even realize I completely redid the cabinets.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of what you think people are looking for. They're not. They just don't want you to touch their stuff. So if you want to touch somebody else's stuff, make sure all of your stuff has a place. It'll probably take you a year to figure that out. And by then, usually the spouse is like, okay, that looks pretty good. We could do my stuff now.
Now, when it comes to organizing the family life as well, like you talked about, you dealt with all your stuff first, and you moved on to the kids. How did you
Yeah.
get the kids involved? Because I can tell you this, right now, my daughter's already saying, "Why am I wasting my time cleaning up my room?" I'm like,
How old's your daughter?
she's 5.
Okay, she's 5. Okay, she's a little young. Okay,
You
a
know?
little young, Fong, to be like. So I have 2 kids programs because I was an elementary school teacher. The first kids program is for kids 13 and under. So you actually have to do the organizing until your child is 7. So
No.
actually, it's your job. Yeah, sorry, I know you don't like that answer. Girls can start about 5, but 7 is really the age when kids are really ready to start organizing their room. And I actually teach in my videos. Your daughter would just go through my videos, and I would literally tell her how to organize her room, teach them how to vacuum and everything, make sure they have shoes on, teach them how to clean everything in their rooms. And then as they get older, as they move into the older section, which is launch, we call their bedrooms mini apartments. They have some independence over that space. And really, as you become a teenager, your whole life is in your bedroom. Like you've got a place for working, you've got a place for studying, you've got a place for sleeping, you have your collections, you have your clothes, you have everything that you would take with you to a dorm room or condo or an apartment when you leave your home. And you need to start learning how to manage that space so that when you do move into your own entity, then you're able to manage that larger space. And so I really teach kids how to organize that way.
That is awesome. Now, when people approach you, what's your process usually? Like, do you go through kind of one-on-one and kind of find out what their life is like, their household is like before you start going, okay, let's start moving things around.
Yeah, so most people find me through the podcast now. I've been podcasting for almost 12 years, and it is a school. So you enroll yourself in Organized 365 School. So you could just buy one product. Like a lot of people just start with the Sunday basket, they buy that product. All of our products have a life lifetime membership into an app, which has a co-working group. We send physical products like school supplies, and then we have a course. So you go through the course and you implement the physical system, and then you move on. Other people are like, I just need the whole thing. Just give me the whole system. And they get the Sunday basket, and then they get the physical organization program, the paper organization program, and then they sign up for their first planning day. So we do strategic planning 3 times a year in our households, just like you do 4 times a year in business.
That's awesome. When it comes to writing books, you're a person that's pumping out books like all the time. Share with us some of the books that you have, and also speak with us a little bit more about the one that's coming up soon.
Oh, sure. Okay. Thank you. So I have produced 5 books inside of Organized 365. And as a teacher and podcaster, after I talk about something for a couple of years, I'm like, oh, there's enough content here for a book. So my first book was The Mindset of Organization. That really talks about how different generations look at stuff differently. So baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, we all look at our stuff differently. How can we talk about stuff and translate that into what different generations would think? I have a book, How ADHD Affects Home Organization, and that's really from my teaching years. How did I modify the classroom for students who had ADHD, and how would I do that inside of households? How did I do that as an in-home professional organizer? The book, Organization is a Learnable Skill, is the book where the year I turned 40, I went through and completely overhauled my house and reorganized it, and the process that I went through with that. The paper solution is all that information management, ditching your file cabinet, turning it into binders, and having those binders ready for those instances I talked about earlier, power of healthcare, power of attorney, and ultimately settling an estate. And then the latest book, Escaping Quicksand, is really the mental mindset shifts I went through in my 40s that took me from reactive, depressed, and overwhelmed to proactive and back in control of my life. Yes, I got organized, but I also changed how I thought about my life and my role in this second half of life. And that's called Escaping Quicksand, out June 23rd.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. And I'm sure you're going to be a five-time best-selling author coming up very soon.
Thank
And
you.
that's always very exciting. Is there one best-selling book that you are more privy to and kind of more like your baby?
I like them all because they all solve a different problem. But I think when people read How ADHD Affects Home Organization, it really helps, especially women, feel seen that it is a lot of executive function to run a household. And in corporations and in schools, we have supports for people who are struggling with any of those executive functions. But at home, there's no structure, there's no support, there's no person, there's no nothing. And so it really is like, oh, okay, here's how I could support my kids or myself or my spouse who are really struggling in these areas.
Mhm. No, I know, like I said before, you work with a lot of different people. Is there that ideal person that you usually work with? Like, what is the most typical individual that's going through a certain situation, or they're in that certain lifespan that goes, okay, this is where I need these the most?
Yeah, I have been trying to figure that out because when we do surveys or when we figure out who's in our audience, it's literally women from 25 to 75, and they're all over the United States, all over the world. They perfectly match the US population and demographics and all those things. But really, it is productivity minded people, people who are interested in professional development, people who are willing to be disciplined and put in the work in order to get enough time because they know what they want their time for. They want their time to do this other thing. So they're willing to be disciplined to get organized so that they have more time. It is typically someone around 35 to 55 is probably the sweet spot, but there are so many people 65 to 70 in our group that are just like running it. So cool.
Mhm. Now, there's a lot of people listening who are also business owners, entrepreneurs, who
Hmm.
are looking to like scale, grow their businesses and whatnot.
Yep.
Do you have a case study or an example of somebody that you've helped in the household, which then translated into like business success?
Yes. So I was a kindergarten teacher. So my school supplies are all color coded. And when you have colors for things at home, like the color at home for people is blue, then you could take your Sunday basket and you can make a work box, which is what I used to sell. And you can realize, okay, well, all of my people at work are blue and I can have a slash pocket for each of my people. Like once you learn how to organize an analog at home, it really helps you organize your people and your processes in work as well. And like I said, at home, it takes like 20 to 30 hours just to run your household without children. You may not realize that's how much work you're doing, but like we eat 3 times a day, so that's 21 times that you have to prepare and clean up food. Then you have to get the food in there. Then you have to plan it. That's not even counting laundry. How many loads of laundry do we do? You see what I'm saying? Like the time really starts to add up, and that's only the visible. We're not even talking about the invisible or the organizing. Once you start to get your household really running on a system, women will tell me, I ask, what is the first time you realized that you were organized when you hadn't been organized before? And 50% of the time it was, I was on my way somewhere and I got a call in the car from my husband and he asked for this specific piece of paper. And I was able to say, go in this binder or this slash pocket or this location. And I kept going to wherever I was going because prior to that, the women would just stop, turn around, go home, get the paper, and miss out on whatever they were going to. And I know that I think that probably kind of surprises you. You would not believe how much women put their life on hold and don't do what they're uniquely gifted and created to do because they are managing the people and the processes at home and they can't do that remotely. They have to literally be in the house in order to do it. They know the papers in one of these 3 different piles, but they don't know which one, so they can't really articulate. And they'll be like, well, check this one and check this one. And if it's a child or a spouse that doesn't have a lot of patience or doesn't like to use their eyeballs very hard, then they have to turn around because even though they could say it's like halfway through the stack, they're like, I can't find it. I can't find it. So then you have to turn your car around and go home and find, they're like, here's your paper. And now you've lost out on whatever opportunity you were doing as a woman. I can't even tell you. You're like going, there's no way. And every woman listening is going, oh my gosh, yes, that was me on Tuesday.
I feel like most of those calls are like you go back home, open up the drawer, and the very first thing you see is like it's
Right
right.
there. It's right there. It's right there. But now you've already missed the opportunity of whatever you were going to do. And that is the bummer for women is that we know we're organized enough for us to find the information, but not enough for other people to. We're organized for us to keep track of everything that's going on in the household, and then we get the flu, right? And then everything comes to a screeching halt. And because we don't have SOPs and because we don't have a system, we are the only one that could start that engine going again. So now we've lost a week from the flu. Now we're behind the ball, 8 ball on work and home. And it takes us a month to get caught up again. I mean, it just is because, and who has time to stop and sit down and write down the standard operating procedures for the household or didn't even know that was a thing until 5 seconds ago?
So, okay, this might be a dumb question, but wouldn't it be a logical solution to train or coach the other person too?
I love that question. Thank you so much for asking. How well do you think that works?
Well, you see,
Okay, I'll only say this because
there's lots of potential there.
potential. No one wants to do the housework. Here's the thing. Men, women don't want to do it. There are thousands of academic studies that show that women are doing more invisible work and physical work at home than men.
Hmm.
And that amount of work has shrunk. So women used to do a lot more in the 80s than they do now. Men do a lot more now than they used to do in the 80s. So my husband will always say, most male podcasters will say, I do the grocery shopping. And I say, yeah, to my husband, Greg, yeah, there are a bunch of men at the grocery store because you guys like to eat. So it's really easy to delegate that to you because you're going to figure it out and you're going to eat. But if we say like, you're now in charge of all the kids' doctor's appointments, we're not going to do that because we're not going to do that. We're going to keep that for ourselves, right? So we're going to keep a lot of this management for ourselves. So the academic theme right now since the 80s is that women do more work at home than men. And so men need to pick up the pace. Like you hear that in academia everywhere. You hear that in the media everywhere. Okay, that's great. How do you think that's going on in marriages? I can't even tell you how many marriages have ended because we tried to make the work equal. Also, as a side note, I love being the household manager. I love being a stay-at-home mom. My husband says, you like to be in control. I'm like, I do love to be in control. Thank you for noticing. You're allowed to do the grocery shopping and I will do all of the invisible work because I do want to be the CEO of my household and I've elevated the position to the CEO of my household. But I need the structure and support of systems in order to be able to also be the CEO of Organize 365 and also get my PhD at the same time and also support my single daughter who has 2 kids. Like I've done all of that simultaneously because I have systems in all of those things that I am doing because I am a productive person. So instead of saying the solution to this problem is to get someone else to do my work, I would rather say, as an independent woman, the solution is to support me with systems so that I can do all of these things that I want to do. So that's why I got my PhD, so I can do research because we don't have systems in the home and I've created them. And I want to do academic studies to see if these systems really do support our productivity and our executive function. And if they do, and we can show that in science, then if you do have ADHD, the Sunday basket is now a medical intervention for you, just like we do with children. Like you may not realize, but children have all of these alternative therapies they can have when they have ADHD in addition to medication. But as soon as you turn 18, science has only studied medication for adults with ADHD, no alternative solutions. So I'm creating an alternative non-pharmaceutical intervention for ADHD in addition to just systems.
That's very, very fascinating stuff. And I just love how you're able to say all the stuff about household work, but from a complete business standpoint and reference. So
Yes.
very, very
And
cool stuff.
power. Yeah, it makes
Very
you
cool.
powerful, not powerless. Like if you're relying on somebody else to come save you, like nobody wants to be saved. We want to save ourselves, but also there's a lot of work to do. And yeah, I just want to come at everything from a purposeful, goal-oriented, productive standpoint, not a reactive, reflexive, save me, I can't handle it.
Mhm.
Uh, that's not how the women listening to this podcast think. They're like, oh, really? You don't think I can't watch me? Watch me. We could do it. And so I say the same thing. Like, you don't think I can run two businesses? Watch me. I could
Mm.
do that.
It's like you
Yeah.
think you're organized, I'll show you organized. So you mentioned a lot about the systems, okay? And in
Yeah.
order to implement the systems, you need to take the action and you need to follow it. But prior
Yeah.
to that, you need to have the right mindset to actually follow
Yes.
through of doing it, right? Because
Yeah.
I can only imagine that sometimes people with that Sunday basket you have, that might start overflowing sometime, right? Because they're not having the correct mindset and the right approach to it. So what is somebody what is something that people can do so that they could get into the right mindset so that every time they approach it correctly?
Okay. It's not that that Sunday basket will overflow sometimes. It's that that Sunday basket will overflow every single week for the rest of your life. Still does for me too. We overcommit. We have more opportunities than we can take advantage of. And we live in the most plentiful time in the world, like information and what we want to do and what we can do. Like it is never ending. So the Sunday basket is a container that holds all of your hopes, dreams, wishes, to dos, should dos, all of those things. And then on Sunday, you plan it out just like you plan out your work week and you go, okay, this is all great that I had like 8,000 ideas this week. I could do four. Which four am I going to pick out of this magic box that I'm going to get actually done by the end of the week or one? It doesn't matter. And it really makes you time block your projects. You know how in work, if you don't time block everything you're doing in work, then you'll think in the afternoon that you can write an email and record a podcast and write the next chapter of your book. Like that's what's on your to-do list. But when you time block it, you go, oh, I can only do one of those. And I can't even write a chapter of a book. I can write half. So now you're like, okay, well, then I guess I got to push off the book deadline. You have to prioritize when you're doing work. Same thing at home. Just because you're always at home doesn't mean that you could do more things. So,
Hmm.
yes, it is overwhelming. And you have to become more and more disciplined about doing less, choosing less, saying yes to less, but the things you say yes to, actually doing. So then you make better decisions, better use of your finances, because once a week, you make all of these decisions. And then if people have requests on your time, talent, and treasure, you're like, okay, I'll let you know next week after I do my Sunday basket time. At first, it's like, oh, I really should be able to respond to them right away. I really should grant a wish of everything my kids and grandkids want me to do. But the more you do this, the more you say, no, this is self care, not saying yes in the moment and really thinking through what can I say yes to? And my yes always means yes, and people can count on me is really empowering. So the Sunday basket, once you start doing it, it never goes away. It's just your goals become bigger, your yeses become bigger, your capacity becomes bigger because you're not spread in all these different directions.
Now, you mentioned that it's always going to be overflowing to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Um, how do you deal with the potential negative feeling about it? Because okay, it never stops.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
only grows. So how do you combat the like potential depression looking at all this stuff that's piling up?
What I would say about that is that organization is a muscle.
Hmm.
Learning to be organized, being productive is a muscle. Any productive person you know today uh, is more productive today than they were yesterday because we're always learning and enhancing our skills. Now, I just started working out 18 months ago, ever. I'm in my 50s. And I tricked myself by having the Pilates instructor come to the office. I said to the team, if you guys can find someone that will come to the office, I will do it on company time and we can all work out. And there was someone that worked for me that the next day there was a Pilates person in my office. I was like, I thought that would take longer. So anyway, we started buying weights and all this. Now I go to a gym and I work out. And what I have learned is when my Pilates instructor first came, I mean, I have zero, my body, I don't know how to get it to move. It does not, I have no athletic ability whatsoever. And she would have to say, no, move like this, do this. And every single thing that she did, she had to teach me step by step by step by step. Everyone can learn the skill of organizing. For some people, it is going to take longer. But once you start to learn it, and then you realize, oh my goodness, I can set and achieve goals at home. I can actually get my to-do list done because it only has 5 or 10 things on it. I can be a productive person. Then you're like, okay, what can I do next? What can I do next? And you start to see success. So you like try harder, try harder. You can stay in the life you're in today and live reactively at home and not be purposeful and planned. And you're sorry you even listened this far into the podcast because now you can't unhear what you already know. And you're like, darn it, I didn't want to have to do that at home. Or you could say, well, that's interesting. I have optimized my work at work. I have become profitable and productive at work. What if? What if I applied those principles at home? And I also could run 2 businesses and get a PhD and do Pilates and all these things this crazy 50-year-old woman is doing. Like, can you really have that much time and capacity? Yeah, you can, but it's not going to happen on accident. So it's down to discipline. Do you want it? And do you want it bad enough? Because you can always go into reactive living. But if you want to be purposeful and planned and yeah, you're overwhelmed. And I get overwhelmed at my own Sunday basket on Sunday. I'm like, how did all this stuff get in here? But then once I get going in it, I'm like, okay, I'll say no, 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 no a lot more because I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. I don't know why I thought I could do all that stuff. Just shred it, shred it, shred it.
I love
Just
how
like
you
you would at
added that
work.
last part because like basically you have purge days.
Yeah. Sunday is like, get rid of as much as possible. Okay, what's left over?
Uh,
Basically, I try to figure out how can I do as little as possible.
music to lots of people's ears.
Yeah, as
Um,
little as possible.
when okay, so let's say we put you on the world stage and you have a final word kind of thing. What's one thing that you want people to remember you for?
2 things. One is your household is a business. So let's trade it as one. And the second one would be for all the women listening, give yourself grace. I mean, do not. So the men and women heard this whole entire podcast differently. The men were like, this is great. Let's treat it as a business. Let's do less. And the women are like, okay, so if I could get all of my to-dos in this Sunday basket, then I can actually finally get them all done. I mean, literally, that is what the 2 of you just heard. And to the women, I say, no, that is not what I just said. What I said was, let's do a lot less hobby work. Let's do a lot less work altogether at home. Let's systematize it so that you have more time to do what you're uniquely gifted and created to do. Stop trying to get an A+ on the laundry and the dishes and just get them done and get back your time because you have a unique gift to give the world. It may be in your parenting, in your volunteering in your community, in working for a corporation, or starting your own company. But it is not laundry unless your business is doing other people's laundry. And in that case, let me know.
Nicely said. Before I let you go, I got 5 quick rapid fire questions for you. Give me the first
Great.
thing that comes to mind. You're stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence. What would that be?
Pizza.
Hollywood calls and goes, hey, Lisa, we love your story. Very, very inspirational. We need to spread this message and we want to do a biopic of you. Who would you cast to play you?
Oh, geez. I have no idea. Me. Why can't I just play me?
All right. So you have, okay, well, not exactly the answer I was looking
Does
for,
that
but
ruin
anyways,
that for you?
you casted
I
yourself.
would like to play me, by the way. So if Hollywood is listening, I'm here.
All right.
Also,
So,
come see me.
so you need to cast somebody to play your best friend, and your best friend doesn't want to do it. So who's going to be playing your best friend?
Jennifer Gardner.
All right. So she shows up at your door, and she has the rest of the night to spend with you. A, do
Oh,
you want to take her out on a like great time and just spend time and get to know each other, or do you want to go and organize her home?
Oh, her home is already organized, but I would love to just go sit in her home and talk to her. Like, how did she do it? How did she start to work out during the day? How did she get interested in food? Like just her whole life story. I would just want to listen to her.
All right. You're stuck in a car and there's only
Jeez.
one song that plays on
Oh,
repeat.
no, no,
What's that
no,
one
no.
song that you don't mind listening to on repeat that you're not going to get sick of?
I like Michael Jackson. So it would be a Michael Jackson song.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that biopic, by the way. Uh, give me a number from one to five.
5.
One, two, three, four, five. So the word is chicken. If you have to use the
Okay.
word chicken as a metaphor for success, how are chickens like success?
Well, if you feel like you have been running around like a chicken with your head cut off and you put some systems into place, then all of your chickens will be in their little coops and they will be happy and organized.
Well done. Thank you very much. So that's how chickens are like success. Any final words from you, and what's the best way for people to reach out?
I just have loved this conversation. I hope that it has just caused you to even think about your household differently, and understand that you don't need to have all the systems, but a system or two at home may help you free up your time so you can have more time to do whatever you're uniquely gifted and created to do or have leisure. And the places you could find me, the podcast is called Organize 365. My courses and products are at organize365.com, and I'm most active on Instagram, Organize 365.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. So for everybody out there, make sure you reach out to Lisa, check out her stuff, pick up her books. If you think you're organized already, you haven't seen anything yet. So when you when you're organized, obviously you're going to be more successful. You have more time to do things, whether it's for leisure or for your work and whatnot, and become more and more and scale it more. Organization is the base of everything. So make sure you reach out to Lisa. Thank you very much for everybody. Today is the day to lock your peak potential. Thank you very much. We'll see you later.